Alright, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to install a lift kit on the Jeep Gladiator, which I codenamed Phantom, call sign Phantom. So I went with the AEV 2.5 Dualsport suspension lift. So I currently got it laid out. I got the wheels taken off and it's on jack stands. That's all I've done so far. The wheels are dropped off to get wrapped in 37s. And yeah, so I'll just take you along as I'm going to install this lift here, front and rear, on this 2025 Gladiator. So with the kit, we get the spring coil, which I painted. They do come blue. You can still see maybe a little bit inside, the blue on the inside of the coil there. I just didn't like the way that would look once installed, but here on the part number you can see the actual color of the coil itself. And then this kit comes with the Bilstein RT5100 with the AEV logo on there as well. And then it has these, it comes with the sway bar end links for the front, and then the control arms relocation bracket. Control arm relocation bracket for each side. I've just randomly grabbed one. I'm not sure if this is actually the right side or the left side. We'll figure that out as we go. And then some shims, which I am not 100% sure how to use them. I am going to look it up in the instructions, the hardware. So that's it for one side for the front. Rinse and repeat the same thing for the other side of the front. And then my rear, I haven't fully taken everything apart yet, but as you can see in the box here, so that the track bar relocation bracket for the rear, bump stop extensions, end links. This is for the front right side, the front passenger side. These I'm not really sure yet. These are for the front bump stop extensions in aluminum, and then the coils for the rear. So that's the kit, and then obviously the two coils are just still in the box, and once again I painted them black. And as you can see, my Jeep has been undercoated, so they sprayed also the factory shock, which is why it looks black, red, and then black again. So, and unfortunately this is necessary on the living on the East Coast. Alright, so let's get into it. Alright, so as I'm getting geared up for to take on this job, obviously I'm gonna wear a coveralls. I don't want to get myself, my garage is not the cleanest, so I don't want to get myself covered in all the dirt from the floor and also whatever is on the Jeep. So protect my stuff. But what I want to say is I'm wearing these UF Pro pants. This is not a sponsored message. I do pay full price on these, and they are very, very expensive. So I also want to protect them obviously from oil stains and stuff like that. But like, these are my UF Pro striker pants. And the reason I like to wear them, especially for jobs like this, is the built-in knee pad. So like, yes, you can insert the actual liners for like the actual hard shell knee pads in there too, which I don't have. But they all come with a padding on the top here, which is 1000 denier Cordura, and it's actually padded. So this is just really nice to have if you spend a lot of time on your knees doing a job like this, for example. So that's why I like to wear them. Plus, like, I love the pockets on these. But yeah, these are underneath my coveralls. So we can play mechanic for the day. Next, we're going to loosen the track bar, the upper mount first. And onto the lower mount. So due to the track bar relocation bracket, which is going to go there, I'm going to have to bend this out of the way a little bit. I don't know how much, but it says to bend it outward. So I hope that's enough, but I don't know. So the time has come to drop the axle and take the coils out. Here we go. Okay, that was not gentle at all, but okay. Here we are. That's all the way down. Well, I think we have a problem, because if that's as low as I can go, I don't think I can get the other coils in. I can't go any lower than that. I'm kind of stuck at that now. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just see what happens. At least these are coming out no problem. Okay, I think actually we have enough space. Let's go get the new coils. Huge difference in especially in the lower end. So that's going to obviously compress quite a bit under load and form a solid block to prevent any more sag, I guess. So we have about, I would say, I don't know, how much is that, like 4 inches more, which I don't think we had that much space when this came out. So we'll see what's gonna happen, how I'm gonna get these in. I'm a little bit stressed right now about this. All right. Oh, they're fucking heavy. This top is bottom. Oh fuck. Okay. Oh. Okay. All right, it will work. Because I'm this close. Means if I can raise the other side a little bit, this will drop down, and that should allow me to get it in. Okay, so I'm now definitely maxed out. I got the high lift on this side here. That's all I got left, so there you go, no problem. Easy. Now, this needs to get seated in the notch. Well, this would be a lot easier as a two-person job, because I need someone right now to lower that back down slowly. Okay, right there. If we don't move, we should be fine. Okay, now the next step is to drill out the factory landing plate holes to the same size as the instructions say. Well, whatever the same size of the bolts are. And let me just go tell you right now what it is. To 13/32s. All right, that's the size. Nothing like drilling into a brand new Gladiator. All right, so now we're gonna place our spacers, the bump stop spacers, which are some sort of a polymer resin, something feels extremely compact. That should match up with the holes we just drilled and the hardware provided. Actually, I should make sure that the hardware actually fits. Yeah. And if you're doing this with the exact same kit, it's the 15mm socket nut that fits at the end, because there's another one, a 14mm for different nuts. They seem like they also fit, but those are the wrong ones. Those are for something else after. That's for the relocation bracket. This one is for the 15. Okay, up next. So I just removed my heat shield because I don't actually need that. My exhaust ends right there, so it doesn't come back here, so there's no need for heat shield. Anyway, now we're going to install the track bar relocation bracket. I think you can see from over here. And for that we got this sleeve with a bolt with a crush sleeve to put in the middle. But I'll show you what it looks like inside. So I can't hold it at the same time and show you. Well, try to get that up to where the bolt is. That gets tighter as it goes. So I'm gonna have to hammer that in. Yeah, so the only way to do this is to hammer it up into place. I think pretty close there. I think now we got it. Maybe just Alright, so once that's on, you would then put the U-bolt with the 14mm one. This one is easy, the far one, good access. This one, pain, because there's very little range where you can actually tighten it down. So, a little bit of patience on this one, and we'll get there as well. These ones 34 foot-pounds of torque, and this one 130. All right, track bar is back in. So what did the trick was to actually raise the axle back up, which tilted it as well, because the problem was an angle issue more so than anything else. So once it rose up, it also tilted back again due to the control arms doing their thing, and then it went in. I dropped it down again a little bit to align the hole, put the nut back in, the bolt back in, and right now you keep everything loose until you actually at right height. Once the full weight of the suspension is on it, then at that point you can tighten everything down to torque spec. And now the shocks. All right, obviously the writing is so that you can read it, top to the bottom. Just turn. raise it up just ever so slightly. Okay, so at this point we have the this bracket installed here, which drops down the it relocates the brake line bracket, and it drops down the actual mounting location for the end link for the sway bar. This is also the AEV provided end link that's on there. It does place the sway bar a lot more flat than the factory setting did, but obviously that's to allow more articulation from this whole suspension set. Now what we got left to do is retighten the 4 bolts on each side, so 8 per side down, because right now I got the jack stands under the axle, so this is actually now at right height, so it's at full or at level, I guess. And then, as you can see, the drive line is at a bit of an angle, so I still got to install the 3 spacers to drop down the carrier bearing in the middle. We're getting there. I'm getting there. I'm pretty tired by now, so it's been a long day. It took me all day to just do the rear suspension, but I mean, that is with like running to the store once to buy paint, and then rust paint, and also reading the instructions and everything like that. So a whole day maybe for 2 people can do the full suspension. I don't know, I'm sure it can be done quicker, but anyway, I'm letting you know, for me it took a whole day pretty much. Although mind you, I didn't really start until almost lunch, and it's we're getting close to 7 o'clock now, so still going on 7 hours just for the rear suspension. All right, it's fun. All right, so we're now at the front suspension, loosening all control arms, the front, lower, and upper, front and rear. Up next is loosening the track bar. This is a 21 mil. I'm going to use just a wrench on this, but I am going to need both my hands, so. Lift it. Upper mount. Up next, we're going to remove the bracket that holds the brake line in place. And again, this is a 10 millimeter. And also pop out this thing here. There you go. Okay, so now once we disconnected the cables from the brake line, and also the electrical going into the locker from the pumpkin and the breather tube, the next step is the end links. For the upper one, we're going to use a 21 millimeter, and for the lower one, it's an 18 millimeter. switching to the power socket. Yeah, that would be a lot of manual wrenching, so very, very glad to have this tool. Ooh, a little drop there, some tension on that thing. And retrieve and retain the flange nut, or whatever, the wing nut. Okay, the upper one is a bit tough to crack, so I'm gonna use my impact. Here we go, just like that. Okay, next step is to bend this bracket to make it come up so that there's a bit more flex in the line. And while there might be better ways of doing it, I'm just using a set of pliers and pulling it forward. Kind of gets it off a little bit, maybe gains an inch or so. Okay, and we are ready to drop the axle down. Okay, so I hope that's low enough. Yeah. The factory coils. The isolator needs to stay there. Okay, repeat the other side. On the passenger side, specifically, on the bottom, we have this isolator, and insert into it this spacer. And that's only for gas vehicles, not the diesel ones. And that is to adjust the right height to compensate for the, I guess, the fuel tank being on this side, to make it sure it sits level. And so to answer the question that I asked myself, whether or not this gets tied down with the spacer, it says it does not. It just got indexed back in with this hole here. So we'll just do that. There, that just kind of clips in there. So this kind of stays as one piece. Just now it will no longer clip into the bottom. So it'll kind of just freely sit there, but the coil should have enough weight, pressure to kind of hold it in place. Okay, then we remove the bump stops. You just pull these out. These are the foam ones. Mine are black because my vehicle got sprayed. No, actually they're all black. No, these actually are black. Anyway, so you put these into these provided aluminum bump stop extensions. Now they say to use some form of lubrication. They recommend glass cleaner. So I'll try that. Some glass cleaner. Maybe that will help it. Get seated in there. There we go. it comes with a provided bolt. So you're gonna sit this in on the top, on the mount, and then the bolt just screws into this. So we'll do that now. Now, to install these bump stops, extensions now, gonna be a bit of a pain to get anything into there. But as always, I'm gonna try it the least invasive way possible. Which will be so we're now at the stage where I'm trying to get this bolt into the bottom of this, can you see, of the bump stop. So luckily my my socket is a little bit greasy from all the the tar covering, so the bolt stays in. I don't need to use any painter's tape to lock it in place. I'm hoping to just kind of make my way in there through here. I can't see. I'm sorry if this is bad for you to see. I'm not sure if that helps or not, but I can get the lid up in there without the wrench on it. Wiggle my way through the cables. Without disconnect, and we're in. So now I can screw this in. There you go, just like that. And I will try to give it a couple of turns with my socket wrench. If I can. Which seems quite unlikely, to be honest. But this is, I'm pretty sure that's solid in there. And I didn't have to remove any plugs or fender liner. So there you go, extension secured in place. So the driver's side is much easier. However, my socket did drop the nut when I put it upside down, and so I use a magnet to fish it out. So now I'm going to use a painter's tape trick to keep it in place. So that's all it is. You just put some painter's tape on the end of the screw, and now it won't fall out. Okay, now next big step to watch me struggle is going to be the coil to get that in. Already proving to be extremely challenging. Alright, I'm gonna play with this, see what I can do. Okay, so for the passenger side, it'll help coming from the front. You move the sway bar out of the way a little bit, and then you drop down the other side as much as you can. But it's still gonna, there we go. Getting there. Maybe somehow. The problem is right now, the alignment, it's not straight because the axle is so far down. And because of the extra spacer here, it just makes it extra difficult for this alignment to occur. So, not really sure how to solve this problem yet. But There you go. Just a little bit of compression by hand. It's extremely difficult to rotate it though, to make it spin, to make it seat it and index properly. Because the rubber on the top, it doesn't want to spin. Oh, it's really binding up on the top here. I'm trying to spin it. And they really won't spin on the top. Ah, fuck. Okay. Our plan is to remove it again, index it properly, and then try to get it back over again. Okay. So now we're here. This needs to go like this. Now, if I'm pulling on it, there we go. Indexed, and the rubber on the top is in place as well. Little thing there. So indexed here on the bottom. Okay, next up, shocks. Okay, so we'll do the shocks next. However, I just got jumped ahead a little bit in the instructions, and I want to confirm this little spacer here. I wasn't really sure what it was in the beginning, but like these are to go in here in the sway bar end links, because the new sway bar end links, that well, bolt, whatever you want to call it, is smaller than the factory, so that's why. For one. Alright, well, I am definitely going to have to bring that axle back. That's very far from alignment right now. Very far from reaching. Okay, now with the shocks in place and everything looking more straight again, time to put these the new end links in. Top goes first. Alright, so now we got the end links installed, we have everything back installed, everything is basically finished now for the AEV lift. I have, however, purchased also a track bar, because I do find also like it is visibly not centered anymore, the axle. So I don't think that the factory track bar is sufficient, and that this kit should in fact come with an adjustable track bar, if not a relocation or an extension for this mount or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to put in the Yeti from Steer Smarts as my track bar. I had it on Savage before on a JL, and I'm going to use the same one, albeit a new one, but the same one on this, on Phantom. So we'll do that right now. factory track bar. I think it's beefier than before, maybe, I don't know, than the previous version. Maybe the Gladiator one is bigger than the JL one. Could be wrong. Probably wrong. Okay, so this is my factory and then the Yeti. And as you can see, quite the size difference. And holding it, there is a massive difference in weight. Anyway, so I asked ChatGPT how much longer this needs to be over the factory. And according to this, it says for a 2.5-inch lift on a Gladiator, the front axle usually shifts about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch to the driver's side. That corresponds to needing the track bar lengthened by roughly 1/8 to 1/4, which is 3 to 6 millimeters, to recenter the axle. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so once again, I did catch the fact that after measuring what ChatGPT told me the length was of the factory, I compared it and I realized it's actually longer, and that's because this is a Rubicon. So I've done it again with the Rubicon input this time, and now it's telling me to set the adjustable track bar to exactly 862 center to center as a starting point. And then from there, we're going to adjust as needed to get the wheel centered. I'm going to measure once it's on the ground to get everything exactly as it should be. $860. I think we're right there right now. This is 862 right now. So we're gonna lock this in. Take it down too much. Actually off. This is not completely flat out. Okay. So let's get this in. Now for the rear, I'm just going to tighten that bolt down. I'm not going to film that. All right. Well, it's going to be way more lift than that. Wow, that's going to look fucking good. Here goes the first wheel. Just go get the hardware. So that is the first look at what this will look like. All right. Beefy. Definitely nice. Love it. Love it. Oh, fuck yes. And I think we'll still get out of the garage, but just. All right, all four wheels on. But it feels that my axle is sitting too far forward. And it even looks that way too, like with the shocks, like everything's leaning forward. I'm not really sure how that happened or why it's doing that. especially because I still have the control arms on the other side on. Anyway, what I'm going to try to do is this could be a very dumb idea, I don't know, but if it works, it's not so dumb. And that is, I'm going to try to ratchet strap the axle to this cross member and see if I can pull it in a bit. There's not a lot to do, a lot of adjusting, a lot of tightening. So what I want to know, this is kind of in the way, is if these cross members here, as you can see, they're really far off from lining up. This one's not so bad, but this one here, it's really far back. You know, it's working. Ha! Oh, crazy. It's actually working. Okay. That's working. That's cool. Now, I'm gonna continue to try and put this thing through first. So here's a little trick. If this is not lining up, get in the Jeep, turn it on, turn your steering wheel to the right, and it's going to line up. All right, so that's the install of the AEV 2.5-inch Dualsport Lift. Now there's two things you got to do at the end when you're finished, and that is adjust your headlights, which I'll show you in a second where to do it. It's super simple. And then the other thing you want to do is if your steering wheel has moved, and it probably will because the geometry changed, everything changed, so it's probably going to be off to like the 6 or 6:30 o'clock, like 6 or 7 o'clock. Just bring it back in by twisting the drag link, which again I'll show you also how to do that. So the first thing is the headlights. So you just take a torque, 40 Torx works really well, and you can see it on camera. I can't tell if you can see it or not, but down there is there's a screw. Anyway, it goes straight down. There's a screw. You turn it to the counterclockwise to depress and clockwise to raise. Here it's a bit easier to see. That's a little plastic screw, just right there. Yeah, it was right down there. So anyway, same thing. So you just adjust your headlights. All right, so to adjust your lights, point at a wall or a garage door or whatever, and then find the spot where to go. Like what I'm using is a Torx. It's a Torx 40 with a really long extension on a wrench. So it's just straight down there. Okay, so now in, I'm gonna turn this, and you're gonna see this move. Let's go down. Not a ghostly line. And that's it. You do the same thing for the other side, and then your lights are adjusted. And then you've got to rotate your drag link, which is this thing up here that is right now full of grease. I put that just like an anti-rust grease I put on. I'm gonna rub that in real nice, and I'm gonna adjust it again, because after I made the initial adjustments,
I over adjusted and now it's facing the opposite direction a little bit. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to adjust it. And then once everything is dialed in, then you just lock down your track bar for the final position. But I'm still going to go get an alignment done on this. And then that'll be it. Now it's pretty beefy. It's actually a lot higher than I expected it to be. I still fit to the garage like just now. Like before, this tent was like here. For me, I could like see on the top of it. And now it's, well, way taller than me. So yeah, it's a huge beefy lift. Obviously, once I get some weight on here, that's gonna come down a little bit, and also I'm assuming it's gonna settle just a little bit.